heart of a desolate desert, a place untouched by civilization for decades, there stood an eerie relic of the past, an abandoned gas station. Its worn-out sign creaked ominously in the wind, and the pumps, covered in rust and dust, seemed frozen in time. Locals whispered tales of strange happenings that occurred around the station after sunset, warning travelers to steer clear of the area after dark. A group of adventurous teenagers, fueled by curiosity and the thrill of the unknown, decided to put these stories to the test. Among them were Emma, a fearless and headstrong leader, Alex, a technology geek with a love for ghost hunting gadgets, Sarah, the group's skeptic who believed in scientific explanations, and Mike, the joker who hid his unease behind a mask of humor. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the desert, the group parked their car by the side of the road. The abandoned gas station loomed ahead, its silence eerie and unsettling. Alex set up his ghost hunting equipment, including a digital recorder and an infrared camera. "All right, everyone," Emma said, her voice full of excitement and determination. "Let's see if this place is really haunted." They cautiously approached the station, their footsteps echoing in the stillness of the night. The wind howled, carrying whispers that seemed to float on the air. Alex's equipment picked up faint, garbled voices, sending a shiver down everyone's spines. The group reached the old gas pumps, their metal surfaces icy to the touch. As they scanned the area with their flashlights, the beams revealed strange symbols etched into the ground and walls, symbols that none of them recognized. Sarah scoffed, attributing it to graffiti left behind by bored teenagers, but her words carried little comfort. Just as they were about to retreat, a flickering light caught their attention. In the distance, they saw an ethereal glow emanating from the abandoned station's windows. Emma's heart raced as she urged her friends to investigate. The building's door creaked open with reluctance, revealing a hallway that stretched into darkness. As they ventured further, the air grew colder, and their flashlights revealed unsettling scenes, a dusty counter with scattered coins, ancient magazines, and a calendar stuck on a date decades old. The atmosphere was heavy with a sense of abandonment and forgotten memories. In the heart of the station, they stumbled upon a room that sent chills down their spines. The walls were adorned with faded photographs, their subjects staring back with hollow eyes. Emma picked up an old newspaper and read aloud a headline that sent a shockwave through the group. The gas station's owner had disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a distraught family and unanswered questions. Just then, the sound of a car engine revving echoed from outside. Startled, they rushed to the windows to see an old-fashioned vehicle parked by the pumps. In the driver's seat sat a shadowy figure, its features obscured by darkness. Mike's uneasy laughter broke the tension as he said, "Looks like we're not alone." As the group made their way out, they saw the spectral figure step out of the car and approach them with an outstretched hand. Fear gripped them, and they fled toward their own car, stumbling over debris in their haste. With trembling hands, Alex managed to start the car just in time. As they sped away, they looked back to see the gas station disappearing into the distance. The spectral figure stood by the pumps, its gaze locked onto them until it was swallowed by the night. The group never spoke about that night again, but the memory of the abandoned gas station and its secrets haunted their dreams. They learned the hard way that some mysteries were best left untouched, as the line between the living and the lingering spirits of the past was a thin one, ready to blur at any moment. Deep within the heart of the Appalachian Mountains stood a gas station that seemed to exist in its own realm, detached from the rest of the world. Locals spoke in hushed tones about its peculiarities, the flickering lights that seemed to cast sinister shadows, the way time seemed to behave differently once you stepped onto its worn-out pavement, and most notably, the legend of the vanishing attendant. It was a crisp autumn night when Jake, a curious traveler with an insatiable appetite for adventure, found himself low on fuel and navigating the winding mountain roads. As his gas gauge danced perilously close to empty, he spotted the glowing neon sign of the enigmatic gas station. Ignoring the nagging feeling that something was off, Jake pulled in. The place was like something out of a bygone era, its faded colors and antique pumps exuding an eerie charm. The attendant, an old man with a lined face and deep-set eyes, approached his car. His voice was as weathered as the station itself as he warned Jake to not linger too long. Jake chuckled, dismissing the warning as the product of an old man's superstitions. Eager to prove the legend wrong, he engaged the old man in conversation. The attendant's stories were wild, tales of people who had vanished, cars that had been left behind overnight only to reappear the next morning with their drivers gone without a trace. As the conversation flowed, the night seemed to grow thicker, and the distant hum of traffic faded into silence. Suddenly, the old man's face went pale. "You should go now," he whispered urgently. Ignoring his instincts, Jake laughed it off, convinced that there was a logical explanation behind these eerie occurrences. He stepped inside to buy a pack of gum, and when he emerged, he was met with an unsettling sight: the attendant had vanished. Panic set in as Jake's heart raced. A chilling breeze blew through the empty gas station, carrying with it a sense of foreboding. He searched every corner, every aisle, but the old man was nowhere to be found. Desperation gripped him as he returned to his car, only to realize that the station itself seemed to have shifted. The once brightly lit pumps were now shrouded in darkness, and the world around him felt distorted. A creeping unease wormed its way into his mind as he realized he was trapped. Time seemed to dance erratically, and with each passing moment, the station morphed further into a nightmarish version of itself. The flickering lights cast elongated shadows that seemed to move independently, and a distant laughter echoed through the air. With a heart pounding like a drum, Jake stumbled towards his car. The world around him twisted and warped, the very fabric of reality unraveling. In a desperate bid for escape, he turned the key in the ignition and revved the engine, praying that he could break free from this macabre trap. As the engine roared to life, the station itself seemed to wail, its neon lights casting a sickly glow. With a screech of tires, Jake peeled out of the gas station, his heart racing and his mind awash with terror. As he sped away, he dared to glance in the rearview mirror, only to find the gas station and its attendant had vanished without a trace. The legend of the vanishing attendant had claimed another victim. And as Jake sped down the mountain roads, his mind haunted by the horrors he had witnessed, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death, a fate of being trapped in that otherworldly gas station for all eternity. In the heart of the desolate desert, there stood a gas station that time seemed to have forgotten. Its once vibrant sign was now faded, and its windows were coated in layers of dust. It was said that strange occurrences took place there, especially in the restroom. A group of college friends, eager for adventure, set out on a road trip. As night fell and their gas gauge neared empty, they spotted the flickering lights of the old gas station. Pulling in, they felt a shiver down their spines as they surveyed the eerie surroundings. Ignoring their apprehension, they decided to fill up their tank and use the restroom before continuing their journey. Inside the gas station, the attendant's eyes followed them with an odd mixture of curiosity and concern. When one of the friends, Emily, entered the dimly lit restroom, she felt a sudden drop in temperature. The air seemed heavy, and a chill ran down her spine as she approached the cracked mirror. She caught a glimpse of a pale face behind her reflection, but when she turned around, there was no one there. A soft, plaintive voice whispered from one of the stalls, "Help me, please." Emily's heart raced as she hesitated, her instincts telling her to flee. But her curiosity got the better of her, and she pushed open the stall door. There, huddled on the floor, was an old woman dressed in tattered clothes. Her eyes were haunted, and her hands reached out with a desperate plea. The woman introduced herself as Eleanor and claimed she had been trapped in this restroom for years, a victim of a crime long forgotten by the world. She told Emily a harrowing tale of betrayal and abandonment, weaving a story of treachery that chilled Emily to her core. Emily's friends were skeptical, but Eleanor's story seemed to resonate with her. Against her friend's advice, Emily decided to help Eleanor. They brought food, water, and blankets, doing their best to make her comfortable in her spectral prison. As the night wore on, the gas station seemed to transform. Strange shadows danced on the walls, and the flickering lights cast eerie shapes across the floor. The friends began to hear whispers, faint cries, and distant laughter. Their skepticism turned into unease, and they couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. Days turned into nights, and Emily's obsession with Eleanor's story grew. She was determined to uncover the truth and bring justice to the forgotten woman. But the more she delved into Eleanor's past, the more the gas station seemed to exert its malevolent influence on her. Emily's friends became increasingly concerned as she withdrew from them, consumed by her mission. One by one, they experienced unsettling phenomena, objects moving on their own, footsteps echoing through empty corridors, and a growing sense of dread that pervaded the gas station. Desperation set in as Emily's friends realized they needed to free Eleanor and escape the gas station's grasp. They discovered an old newspaper article that matched Eleanor's story, confirming the truth behind her tragic fate. Armed with this knowledge, they confronted the gas station's attendant, demanding answers. The attendant's gaze held a mixture of sorrow and regret as he revealed the station's dark secret. He had once been part of a group that had betrayed Eleanor and left her to die. The gas station, a place tainted by their guilt, had become a conduit for the restless spirit seeking justice. As Emily and her friends gathered the courage to free Eleanor's spirit, the gas station unleashed its full fury. The very walls seemed to close in, and the air grew thick with malevolence. It was a battle of wills against a force that had festered for years. In a climactic struggle, Emily and her friends managed to break the station's hold on Eleanor's spirit, setting her free at last. As Eleanor's ghostly figure faded away, the gas station crumbled into dust, its dark energy dissipating into the desert wind. Exhausted and shaken, Emily and her friends emerged from the ruins, forever changed by their encounter with the haunted restroom. They would forever carry the weight of the gas station's secrets, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk even in the most ordinary of places. And whenever they passed by a gas station on a lonely desert road, they would remember the chilling tale of the haunted restroom and the forgotten soul it had held captive.